Good morning and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. I know we promised we'd have a conversation with the Chief Secretary about the recently concluded Tobago Carnival, but we want to skip that for now and go into something a bit more serious and have a conversation with the Chief Secretary concerning the situation in Jamaica with Hurricane Melissa about to make landfall in that country and what it means for our Tobagonian and Trinbagonian students who are still on the island. Good morning and welcome, sir.
Good morning, Akinlabi. Thanks for having me. Good morning, Tobago.
So, Honourable Chief Secretary, I know that you recently had a press conference speaking about the situation and the THA's position. For those who may not have been able to listen in, could you just summarize what the Tobago House of Assembly's position is concerning the matter?
Well, sometime last week, I actually reached out to the students in Jamaica. In fact, I just type searched in WhatsApp to see which student in Jamaica I had contact for. And through that contact, I was able to be placed on the group chats with the Tobago students that are in Jamaica. Miss Melinda, Alfred is the student leader there representing Tobago students. Since then, I've also created a second chat because we have high school students in Jamaica, and I think most Tobagonians don't know that we have high schoolers from Tobago that attend high school in Jamaica. In conversations with them on Friday, they indicated that a couple of things. One, many of them missed the repatriation flight with Caribbean Airlines because they either did not know about it, or it was announced too late for them to do anything about it, or they did not have the monies to pay for the flights to come home. In fact, I did not even know of the flight until very late either. After I had a conversation with the students on Friday, the Secretary of Education, myself, and Minister Sobers, we had a conversation, and I indicated to him that a lot of our students did not get adequate supplies in Jamaica. And by the time we got to Sunday mid-morning, the supplies were delivered to them by the Trinidad and Tobago High Commission. And so all of our young people who are there that we had contact with, they received supplies, adequate supplies for the duration of the hurricane. I have been in constant communication with them. In fact, I could share with you the times for communication as it relates to our university students. My last conversation with them was at 7:18 a.m. this morning. 7:18 a.m., 18 minutes past 7 this morning, and none of those university students, whether on campus or off campus, have flooded out or roofs are gone. So far they are in good stead. And I last had communication with the high school students. That was just about 1:34 a.m. this morning. I had conversation with the high school students. Among the high school students, only one reported some roof leak, but the roof leak was not major. He just had, I think, roof leak in 4 areas in the room, and he just had some containers that he was collecting that water and pouring it out periodically. But all in all, our students are doing quite fine up until this point. I don't know if the circumstances will change, but we are in constant communication with them. The total number of students that we are in communication with is just around 69 students that we are in communication with at this point, that we have information for. We know their whereabouts, where they're located. We know that they had supplies to weather the hurricane. and we have all systems in place to help them. On Sunday as well, while the rest of the island was jumping up and so on, I met virtually with our students in ensuring that, again, their anxieties are calm and that they had all that they needed. I have also put systems in place on the THAN for post-hurricane response. So I have teams monitoring what's happening there, the chief administrator included, and they have firm instructions that should the thing deteriorate, should matters deteriorate beyond what they are now, that there are certain steps that we definitely will take in the days immediately post the hurricane. So we will have a post hurricane plan in the event that there is need for an activation for an island that is devastated by hurricane.
Honourable Chief Secretary, we just want to bring in the Tobago representative from the TTSA, Miss Melinda Alfred, into the conversation. Good morning and welcome again, Melinda. How are you?
Hi, good morning, everyone.
So I'm not sure if you heard what the chief would have been saying concerning the communication between the Tobago, between himself and the students that are in Jamaica right now. Just for repetition for those who may not have heard in your earlier interview, what is the feeling like amongst the student population from Tobago in Jamaica at this present moment?
At this present moment, and before, I can definitely say that persons are anxious. They have no idea what to expect. We have no idea what to expect, knowing that we have never went through a hurricane before. And persons are just anticipating what will happen next, looking at the wind, the constant rain, trees falling. As of right now, just hoping for the best.
The Chief Secretary would have mentioned that there is constant monitoring of the situation by the Tobago House of Assembly and that they stand ready to assist in whatever way should the situation deteriorate. Do you think that that position is going to ease the nervousness and the anxieties of the Tobago students in Jamaica?
Definitely, since Chief has been in contact with us, most persons are definitely saying, they feel much more comfort knowing this, because before all of this, we were not contacted via email as stated by other persons who are probably gate funded or funded national bursaries or CAPE scholarship.
Ms. Alfred? We lost Ms. Alfred there for a moment. Chief, I just want to get back to you.
Sure.
You said that the THA would be there to help if the situation deteriorates any further. We know that there has been outcry concerning the whole issue with the flights out of Jamaica, to airlift our nationals out of Jamaica. Would the Tobago House of Assembly stand ready to cover the cost of any flight to repatriate our nationals or Tobago residents back to Tobago?
That's actually part of the plan. So we have a two-pronged plan for the students who are still in Jamaica right now. We have all of their information, including account information, and we are monitoring. And if the weather conditions should worsen significantly, we are prepared to immediately make some injection of funds into the personal accounts of these students, because they will need access to some financial resources post the hurricane. And if it's absolutely devastating and there is no way they could, and we're talking Hurricane Ivan type devastation, because that's what most people here will be familiar with, we are prepared, if needs be, to charter a flight, whether it be CAL or any other airline, to airlift the remaining students out of Jamaica. if needs be. As a matter of fact, I wish I had known of the flight earlier. If I had known of the Cal flight, or more than that, if I had known that Jamaica was shutting its airport down earlier, then I would have found a way to get all our students out and off Jamaica prior to the passage of Hurricane Melissa. But at this point, in fact, by the time we, including some of the students here, who are aware of the flight and all of that, it was too late. And then when we are checking to see if we could charter to get them out, the airport in Jamaica was closed. In fact, the airport in Jamaica was closed since around Friday. So it was difficult to get them out in those conditions. But we are prepared if with the passage of the hurricane is devastating. We are prepared that if it is absolutely needed, we will take our students off the island. We are in constant communication with the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. They have in fact been helpful to the THA. In fact, at one point the minister said, "No, Chief Sec, you don't have to spend money to get these things. We will provide it." And so it's the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs that provided the supplies to the students over the weekend that they received on Sunday. And I want to thank Minister Sobers for moving so quickly upon my call in providing the assistance to the students. But that aside, we are prepared to do whatever is necessary to ensure that in the days following Melissa, that the students are well. We know it's a slow-moving storm. This storm was expected to make landfall last night, but what we have seen thus far is increase in the levels of rainfall, and of course the wind speeds are picking up. But to date, most of our students, if not all, still have access to electricity and telecommunications. We just had Miss Alfred online, but you will imagine that the telecoms, that it is going and coming. We so far have all of the students reporting that they are well. Certainly, if that changes, then our response will have to change with it. Students and parents are reaching out, because I forgot to mention that while I was saying to the students, add me to your chat, parents were in fact reaching out to say, "Look, I have a child there and I'm worried and anxious." So for the parents who are here looking on and communicating with your children and praying and so on, know that we are here with you, and we are prepared to do what is necessary for our students. Of course, we will do so in collaboration with the ministry in Trinidad, but we are even prepared to work above and beyond what the ministry may or may not do. Because I can't speak to the ministry's policy at this time, but I can tell you, as so far as the THA is concerned, we are prepared to take any and every action necessary post the hurricane to ensure that our students are well.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chief Secretary, concerning that matter. And we pray that the storm does minimal damage in Jamaica and that everyone comes out safer on the other side of this incident. I want to thank you very much, Ms. Melinda Alfred, for being with us once again, and we hope that you stay safe as well. Chief, we just want to continue conversations, but we want to segue into something else. We know that
Sure.
we are on the tail end of October, and we have 2 more months before the end of the year, and politics is on people's minds. The election is on people's minds, and we want to know about the nomination process for the Tobago People's Party. How is it going? Have you all selected candidates just yet? Are you going to announce candidates? And also, are you going to announce the election date soon?
Well, insofar as our nomination process, nominations closed last Friday, and over the weekend we did sort of the first layer of screening, and in that first layer of screening, we looked at ensuring that everyone who were nominated, that they in fact are members of the party. That's a basic rule. This must be a member of the party. We also looked at whether those nominated had the required number of nominators, so to speak, for the nominees. Today, I will announce all of those who were duly nominated. And once I do that, all action groups will be issued with the necessary forms that they will evaluate the nominees. The evaluations from the action groups at the village level, that comes up to the screening committee level, who will engage in the interview processes next week. And thereafter, we will announce who the successful candidates would be. There may be instances, and it's too early to tell, there may be instances where the political leader will require that in districts, in particular districts, that they go back and find additional nominees. That too is part of the process. But that's where we are. Insofar as an election date, unfortunately, I don't have an election date at this time to announce. Just note that based on law, two things must happen. One, the House must be dissolved first, and then once the House is dissolved, the election can only be called within a 2 to 3 month period. It cannot be less than 2 months based on the THA Act. And of course, when it comes to the issuing of the election writ and so on, I think that's 35 days. So that's just all that I have at this time.
So then we're definitely looking at our 2026 THA elections.
Well, you definitely can say that, because the election cannot, by law, be less than 2 months from the date of the dissolving of the House. That's clear in Act 40 of 1996. I think it's Section 22 of Act 40 of 1996. In fact, let me just quickly read it for you so that it is clear to everyone. In Section 2022, it says, the Assembly shall continue for 4 years from the date of its first sitting after any primary election, and shall then stand dissolved unless the Assembly by resolution dissolves itself at an earlier date. And 22.2 says, the President, after consultation with the Prime Minister and the Chief Secretary, shall fix the date of a primary election, which date shall not be earlier than the expiration of 2 months after the dissolution of the Assembly, no later than the expiration of 3 months after the dissolution. So in other words, the election can only happen within 2 to 3 months after the dissolution of the Assembly. So I hear people talking all sort of madness about whether I will call a snap election and whether I will try to call an election with acting President Mark and all sort of madness. That's just not how the THA works. We should just be familiar with Act 40 of 1996. That is very, very clear in terms of the process for getting to an election for the THA.
Now, Chief, I know it's been reported that you all had over 50 submissions for the 15 seats. So there's clearly a strong interest in participating in the democratic process and representing the Tobago People's Party. How do you think that will augur for the party in the upcoming elections? Do you all see yourselves walking away with a very strong victory? How do you think the elections will pan out for your party?
The plan is to walk away with a strong victory. I think Tobagonians, having assessed the parties, they understand that at this time there is really and truly just one party that is in a position to best represent the people of Tobago, to advocate for the people of Tobago, but more so to govern the island of Tobago. And so we are working with all interests. We continue to have a very open door policy as a party, which means that you could be PNM this morning, and I could send you the link this afternoon, and you join and become a member of the Tobago People's Party this afternoon. It's a very simple process, We don't run an exclusive club. This is not some all-inclusive fete where you have to pay big money, and if you don't pay big money, if you don't meet some stringent criteria, you can't be a part of it. This is a party that prides itself on a bottom-up approach, that prides itself on being democratic, that prides itself on being people-driven, and that prides itself on being very Tobago-centric. And so with that in mind, I think we are the only indigenous Tobago party at this time that has Tobago's best interests at heart and that can advance the cause for greater autonomy for the people of Tobago.
All right, thank you very much, Honourable Chief Secretary Farley Augustine, for your interview this morning, and we wish you have a good and productive rest of your day.
Well, just before we leave, just to say one, I think Melinda tried returning to the interview just before we segue. She has been doing a fantastic job of corralling all of our students there. I also know that we have, or she's still here, I also know that we have, in fact, some persons in Jamaica who went for graduation. Graduation, I think, is supposed to be within this week coming, but obviously those graduation exercises are on pause out there at UWI Mona. I have been using my network at UWI Mona because I studied there. I know some of the players there on the administration side. So I've been using my network in ensuring that, we do all that's necessary for our students. I've gone as far as to communicating with colleagues I have who I studied with, who are now in the parliament in Jamaica as well, just doing what is necessary for them. And so I encourage all of Tobago to keep them in your prayers. Not just our Tobago students, but those also from Trinidad that's there. And of course the wider Jamaica population that is resident in Jamaica, that really and truly will be going through their worst storm in 37 years since Hurricane Gilbert. And so it's quite an anxious moment for the island. And we want to make sure that they're all safe. I see Melinda is back. Melinda, thank you for the excellent job that you have been doing. You have been very, very, very responsive. Even in the middle of the night, you have been responsive, because I've been trying to chat with them all after 1, after 2 in the morning, and they have been responding, sending the little videos of what's happening on the outside, of where they're staying, and so on, so that they're not just saying that they're okay at the moment, but they're showing evidence of being okay at the moment, and I do appreciate that. Melinda, how are things where you are specifically right now? Melinda, you can
Right
hear
now,
us?
the rain has stopped. It's just windy, but current is constantly. You're not hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing
Yeah,
you.
we hear you here.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
we
we're
are
hearing
hearing
you.
you.
Go ahead, we're hearing you.
Go ahead, we hear you.
Right, I'm saying current is constantly going.
Okay.
Current is constantly going where I am, but we do have a generator, so I'm able to join back on the meeting. Hello?
Okay.
Yes, so I think she probably might not be hearing us, but we are definitely hearing her.
Yes.
So
Yes.
again, thank you, Akinlabi, and I can't leave it out saying thanks to all the visitors that passed through the island over the past week. I I I was at home washing on Sunday, and I had the television on Tobago updates. So I was following the interviews, and I kept hearing, well, I'm here from the US, I'm here from Canada, I'm here from Trinidad, I'm here from places all over the world. And I think Tobago has not had this opportunity to have so many people from so many parts of the world converge on the island in such a long time. And I think the carnival provides that opportunity. I took, given that I am not a partier and not a fet man. I took the responsibility within the TH of managing the security aspect. And of course, we had the command center being operated by TIMA. We had ACP Suberu as the goal commander. And we had McKenna, Captain McKenna, as the silver commander up from Camp Signal Hill. We had Naval Lieutenant Valentine was here. We had the Coast Guard vessel docked and stationed around the island for the entire week. That allowed us to have quick responses, even in the Marine Park, where we saw some madness happening there, but that was addressed by Mr. Stewart, director out at TIMA. But all in all, we had a very safe week and weekend. And last night, much of my protestation, Suberu took me to the last event down at Pigeon Point, just as they were preparing to close that event out and bring a curtain down on the festivities. I'm happy everything went safely. I want to give another assurance though, because the THA invests a lot into the orange economy and into cultural events like this. One of the things I want to see happen, and I've said it constantly to administrators and to the chief admin in particular, I've placed it in my notations on minute sheets, that I want to see similar investments in other parts of our culture, including the religious aspects of our culture and religious entertainment. I want to see similar types of investment into that area as well, so that all sections of the Tobago population will feel as though they can enjoy the benefits of THA investments in the orange economy, not just those who are involved in carnival arts or those who are involved in the sort of ancestral type art forms. I really want to underscore the point that we want to be quite even and equal in how we do the distribution across the space. But again, thanks to everybody who came and enjoyed and participated. Thanks to a very safe week and weekend. And we now sort of marching towards Christmas. And we certainly will be ensuring that everyone have a happy, joyful, and peaceful Christmas.
Chief, as you mentioned something there concerning the party boats in the Buko Reef Marine Park, and I just want to get a quick response from you. We have seen a number of incidents with sinking of boats and a lot of unfortunate incidents taking place in the Marine Park, and there seems to be a lack of regulation taking place, or persons breaking regulations, I should say. Persons breaking regulations in the Marine Park.
It's a case of people breaking regulations and policy. Now remember, the THA has a policy. We have a policy that governs the time, and when people can and cannot be in the park, etc. We have regulations governing how persons should be on the vessel, life vests, insurance, etc., etc. Some of those things are codified in law, and so Maritime Division can act. So, for example, if you don't have enough life vests, if you overload the boats, Maritime Division and the police can act. But in the main, our policies are just policies without the effect of law behind it. And I keep saying in 2019, we sat as a THA and we all unanimously agreed to policies, to a bill that we sent down to the Parliament. We had a case of a PNM Chief Sec, a PNM Prime Minister, and the bill never made its way on the Parliament floor. And so in the absence of very strong laws, people will violate the policies of the THA. I'm happy for the position that Mr. Stewart, and as director of TIMA, and that committee, that management committee, is taking, that they're looking to ensure that charges are laid, that licenses are revoked once persons violate the terms of their license for the craft that they're operating. But we can't help but continue to underscore for our practitioners within this space, within the marine park, that you have to be safe, that lives are at risk, and if you are not safe in your operations, then we could have something very catastrophic. But the THA and other agencies like the police, the Coast Guard, etc., we are prepared for any eventuality within the marine park. We just don't want any at all. We want to minimize the number of eventualities in the area.
So will the THA now appeal to this current government to bring the bill to Parliament?
We have appealed to the current government to actually take the bill up as it is and to carry it on the Parliament floor because we think it is critically important at this time.
All right, thank you very much, Honourable Chief Secretary, for sitting with us and having this extended interview. We know that you're a very, very busy man.
We're running into 2 days of retreat now to just look at the budgetary prioritization. And so by Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, we will have a press conference that will examine how we plan to treat with the 5% we receive. And of course, sometime during the course of the day, maybe later this afternoon, the public will hear from me as I announce those who were duly nominated from the TPP process. And we continue to work with our students. But all in all, have a good day, have a productive day. You had a very long weekend, Tobago, very long weekend. Our offices were closed yesterday. Expect everybody to shake off all of the back pains and leg pains and so on. You have washed off all the pains and all of that. And we expect everybody at work. In fact, you should be at work already and being quite productive. So thank you and have a productive week ahead.
Same to you, Honourable Chief Secretary. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we have come to the end of the Tobago Updates Morning Show, but our programming continues. Up next, we have Good Morning Tobago with Chanel Felix. So do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. GMT is up next.